Ahoj, vítejte u dalšího videa. Welcome to another video. In this video, I want to show you verbs and phrases that typically go with the word že. Že. Že is a very important Czech connector, conjunction. Well, it has other functions. It's not only a conjunction, but in this video, I would like to speak about že being a connector between two clauses. Imagine you have two separate statements, two separate phrases. Je to pravda? It's true. Vím to. I know it. Je to pravda? Vím to. And we can put them together and make this sentence. Vím, že je to pravda. I know that it is true. What happened here? We have the connector že, which in this case translates to that in English. I know that it is true. I know that it is true. Which sounds more eloquent. It's natural to use connector like this in any language. The important thing that we have to keep in mind is that in English we can leave this connector out. When we connect two clauses and one of them is like this, by the way, it's called object clause, we can leave it out. However, in Czech we cannot. We have to keep že. And this is what naturally people often forget when they speak Czech. They often think in English, I know it's true, vím, je to pravda, but there is something missing. The že part is missing. Unless you really wanted to say, I know, comma, it is true. Vím, že je to pravda. This že part is called the object clause. Or we could also say that clause. We can also refer to it that way. Anyways, it's not important, but keep in mind that the word that is often translated by something else. It's not only že. And this object clause expresses an object. Typically answers the question what or whom. What do I know? Co vím? Že je to pravda. I know that is true. Now let's look at some typical verbs and phrases that go with že. Shall we? Jdeme na to. Dobrý den, vítejte na mém kanále Czech by Zuzka, kde vám pomocí angličtiny vysvětluju českou gramatiku. I want this video to be suitable both for beginners and also those a little bit more advanced. So I decided that first I'm going to introduce some basic verbs and phrases that typically go with že, and then I'll show you more verbs. Let's start simple. We're going to work with the basic idea. Something is true, and then you are going to say that you know that it's true, you think that it's true, etc. Že typically comes after the verbs of thinking, feeling, or saying. So let's take a look at these 6 verbs and phrases. Vědět is to know about something. And we are going to use the já person in present tense. Já vím, vím, že je to pravda. I know that it's true. Remember, in English we can say I know it's true, but in Czech we must use this connector že. And there has to be a comma, že. This cannot be left out. Vím, že je to pravda. Next one is myslet. Myslet is to think. Myslím, že je to pravda. I think that it's true. I think it's true. Myslím, že je to pravda. Doufat is to hope. Doufám is the já form. Doufám, že je to pravda. I hope that is true. Or I hope it's true. Doufám, že je to pravda. Věřit is to believe. Věřím, že je to pravda. I believe it's true. Věřím, že je to pravda. And now these 2 phrases. Být rád or být ráda, they're also really useful. This means to be glad. So if you say that I'm glad, or in other words, happy, you can say jsem rád or jsem ráda for a woman. Jsem ráda, že je to pravda. I am glad it's true. I'm happy that it's true. Jsem rád, jsem ráda, že je to pravda. Or mít radost. Mít radost is to be happy. Literally to have joy. Mám radost. Mám radost, že je to pravda. These two are very, very similar. Jsem ráda a mám radost. Jsem ráda is more like I'm glad. You're not like overly excited. And if you say mám radost, it's a little bit more emotional. You put more emotion into that. I feel joy. Mám radost. Mám radost, že je to pravda. Let's read these together. Vím, že je to pravda. Myslím, že je to pravda. Doufám, že je to pravda. Věřím, že je to pravda. Jsem ráda, že je to pravda. Mám radost, že je to pravda. Let's practice these verbs a little bit more. Okay, here is our little activity. All these phrases are the ones that you just saw, except now they are in past tense. So we have věděl or věděla jsem, I knew. Myslel or myslela jsem for feminine form, I thought. Doufal jsem, doufala jsem, I hoped. Věřil jsem, věřila jsem, I believed. Byl jsem rád, byla jsem ráda, I was glad. Měl jsem radost, I was happy, I was feeling happy. Now, this is what we're gonna do. I am gonna say a phrase in English and you are going to choose the combination. Now, the continuation, the že part, or in other grammatical terms, the object clause is že jsou spolu, that they are together. For example, a couple, that they are together or that they came together. So this is what we are going to do. I'm going to say a sentence in English and you are going to make the right combination. This will always stay the same. You will just choose the right verb from here. And then we're going to say that sentence together. So, for example, how do you say, I hoped they were together? It would be, doufal jsem, že jsou spolu. Doufal jsem, že jsou spolu. Now, if you're wondering, why is it not, že byli spolu? We don't do this in Czech the same way we do in English. We can have past tense in one part of the sentence and present or future in the other. It doesn't matter. I hope that at that moment, this moment they are together. So we mix the tenses. Let's try another one. I thought they were together. Myslel jsem, že jsou spolu. Myslela jsem, že jsou spolu. I was happy that they were together. Měl jsem radost, že jsou spolu, nebo byl jsem rád, že jsou spolu. This is a little bit more moderate. I was glad, more like it. Byl jsem rád, že jsou spolu, nebo měl jsem radost. Hurá, měl jsem radost. Okay, another one. I knew they were together. Věděl jsem, že jsou spolu. And I believed they were together. Věřila jsem, že jsou spolu. It's that easy. Don't forget the že word, the connector that connects the two parts. Now let's see more verbs. Some of them are a little bit more complicated to pronounce. If you are a beginner and you think that information that you saw was enough, you can just skip this part. 6 more verbs, or actually 7. The verb chápat, to understand, to get the idea. Vidět and cítit. Vidět, to see, and cítit, to feel, like to sense. Předpokládat. Předpokládat is to suppose or assume. Pochybovat, to doubt. Předstírat, to pretend. Předstírat, this is interesting because we have před, something that we do before. So we pretend. Předstírat. And finally, všimnout si. Všimnout si is to notice. The examples I'm going to give you are going to be in all kinds of tenses. Chápat. Chápu, že mě nechceš vidět. I understand that you don't want to see me. Chápu, že mě nechceš vidět. Vidět. Vidím, že už je čas. I see that it's time. It's time to go, for example. Vidím, že je čas. You could say cítím, že je čas, to be a little bit more mysterious. Cítím, že je čas. I feel that it's time. Předpokládám, že víš, kde je Vyšehrad. This is a little bit more complex sentence. I added another clause. Předpokládám, že víš, kde je Vyšehrad. I assume you know where Vyšehrad is. Předpokládám, že víš, kde je Vyšehrad. Pochybovat. Pochybuju, že to stihneme. I doubt we'll make it. Pochybuju, že to stihneme. Předstírat. Předstírat. Radši budu předstírat, že jsem nic neslyšela. I'd rather pretend I didn't hear anything. Radši budu předstírat, že jsem nic neslyšela. Všimnout si is more typical in past tense. You say that you have noticed something. Všiml jsem si, že se zajímáte o historii. I noticed you're interested in history. Všimla jsem si, že se zajímáte o historii. So past tense are also imperative. That would be všimni si, notice. Všimni si, že. Are you ready for a little bit more? Let's go. I wrote 3 verbs that are more typical in the third person. You'd rather use it in the it person. Those verbs are vypadat, to look like, zdát se, to look like or to seem, znamenat, to mean. Vypadá to, že jsme poslední. It looks like we're the last ones. Vypadá to, že jsme poslední. Zdá se, že to nevyjde. It seems like it's not gonna work out. Zdá se, že to nevyjde. Znamenat, takže to znamená, že se akce ruší. So does that mean that the event is cancelled? Takže to znamená, že se akce ruší. Like I said, these verbs are more typical in the third person. To. And you can find them in my ebook focused on verbs, the 100 most frequent Czech verbs. This is an excellent ebook. Just look at what the people are saying about this. And I would like to offer you a 25% discount until next Tuesday. So if you still don't have this ebook, make sure to consider this offer. One more quick note. Že also appears in indirect speech. So for example, when you say that someone said that, that's the perfect opportunity for že. So verbs like říct and říkat, to say or tell, and odpovědět, to answer. Ségra mu řekla, že je na něj pyšná. His sister told him she was proud of him. Ségra mu řekla, že je na něj pyšná. Odpovědět, že. On odpověděl, že si toho váží. He answered that he appreciated it. On odpověděl, že si toho váží. I have a video about this topic as well, indirect speech, so you might want to see this if you haven't seen it. Now let's do an exercise. These 6 sentences are missing their verbs, and your task is to complete the gaps. I'm not giving you any choices, so I hope it will not be too difficult. If you need to look for those verbs, you can go back in the video. Or if you need to check for specific forms, you can check the Internet Language Manual, příručka. Pause the video so you can work on this. Jdeme to zkontrolovat. Let's check it. Číslo 1. Vidím, že jsme tu všichni. Vidím, že. Číslo 2. Já chápu, že jsi naštvaná, ale já chápu, že jsi naštvaná. Číslo 3. Pochybuju, že si té chyby někdo všimne. Pochybuju, že. Číslo 4. Mysleli jsme, že si uděláte čas. Mysleli jsme. Číslo 5. Už to vypadalo, že nikdo nepřijde a pak už to vypadalo, že. Číslo 6. Poslední. Doufej, že se na ten trapas už zapomnělo. Doufej, that's the imperative. Doufej, že se na ten trapas už zapomnělo. To je všechno. Thanks so much for watching. Of course, there are so many more verbs that typically go with že. You can write them in the comments and share with others. Mějte se krásně a na viděnou za týden. Ciao.